In fact, we're going to try to get back to Mariska. Our apologies there. But Mariska, let's see if the line is better this time around. Mariska, can you hear me?
Okay, yes, good morning to you. Yes, I was just explaining to you, to put you in the picture as to where we are exactly. If you've ever travelled from Cape Town to the Eastern Cape, for example, and you're travelling on the N2, and you've travelled from Grabouw to Swellendam, you have travelled through the Overberg district of the Western Cape. And this, of course, is a very interesting region because a lot of the activity here, the economical activity in the area, is agricultural in nature. And then, of course, we have coastal areas as well here along the line. In the agricultural part of it, there's a lot of apples that's grown in the Elgin Valley, for example, where you find Grabouw. And yesterday, of course, there we saw a farm worker protest, people fighting or trying to get better wages, better living conditions. But we thought that maybe that would deter them from voting tomorrow. But indeed, no. They will go vote, and they're throwing their weight behind a specific party. But where we are right now is in Zwelihle, and that is just outside Hermanus. Now, this is maybe the best way to describe it is that it's a microcosm of what we've seen across the country. There were major protests here last year, very violent protests here. The area was cordoned off completely. You couldn't get in or out. There were even allegations that the leaders of these protests prevented people from leaving Zwelihle to go to work. And we understand that it had more than 2 weeks impact on the economy of Hermanus. Now, for anybody who's ever heard about Hermanus, they will know that this is one of the best spots in the world to do whale watching. So tourism is very, very important in this town. And there's also a number of businesses that is built up around the tourism sector. We also know that 40 million rands worth of damages and losses of income and all of that was created as a result of that violent protest. And also 2 new informal settlements arose from these protests. One is actually called Dubai, and the other is called Marikana because it's situated on a little hill. But to talk to us a little bit more about the impact this kind of protest has had on Hermanus, we've got Gideon Serfontein here, who is the chairperson of the Hermanus Business Chamber. Gideon, good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us in the cold and waiting so long. Gideon, do we know at this stage what were the causes of this protest? What led to this?
Yeah, I think the main cause was around the housing issues, but the bigger problem around that was the focus that there were on the different perspectives on how to address the issue and what to do to provide housing. And that's caused the unrest that we saw during the period March to roughly about August last year. We had in total 18 days of lost production where people didn't come to work. And that had quite a negative impact on the economy. However, I think as a community we've learned from that and we've moved forward.
And was there an impact on the tourism sector that is involved? I mean, Hermanus is all about tourism. You come here for the beautiful scenery and, of course, to watch whales and so on. Has there been some relief? Is it picking up again?
It has definitely picked up. During that period, obviously, it was a very trying time for Hermanus. We were all over the news, and it did have an impact during that period. However, subsequent to that, we've had a very successful whale festival. We've also had a good summer season, and we've seen what happens when a community starts focusing on the common goals and how to address the social needs together. And I think as a community, we have certainly made progress, and we've showed evidence that we could stand together as a community, and if doing so and focusing on our common challenges, there's progress, there is constructive solutions, and we've got evidence of that, and we're very hopeful that after the elections we can focus on those things and community leaders could be united to preserve jobs, to restore their reputation, and to make sure that we grow as a community.
We spoke informally yesterday as well when we chatted, and you also said that there was a big effort made to ensure that you heard people saying they don't feel part of what's happening in Hermanus itself.
Yeah, I mean, that was one of the concerns that were raised. And since then, from the business community side, there's a huge focus to reach out. And I mean, we had the Whale Festival last year, which had a specific effort to include entrepreneurs from Zwelitzle, Horston, Mount Pleasant, and other areas. And during that period in September last year, we managed to create about 130 temporary jobs for people in those communities. We've just had the Walker Bay Extreme Sports Adventure Festival 2 weekends ago. And again, out of that, there was a focus to create social programs which reach out. So from that perspective, I am very positive that we've got it. We've got the natural resources and we have the political will from community leaders to make it work. If we can keep on focusing on what we all need, and that's a decent job, making a decent living for our families, and it's all there. We've got evidence that it is happening. It has happened. We can do it again.
Thank you very, very much. That's Gideon Serfontein, the chairperson of the Hermanus Business Chamber, telling us that Hermanus is dusting itself off, picking itself up again. And I must just quickly say that we were in Zwelihle yesterday. It's actually the people greeted us friendly. People were excited to meet and greet us. We felt very safe. It was a completely 180-degree turnabout from what we experienced here a year ago. And like Leanne said earlier, it's hours to go, and we'll know after that all-important day tomorrow.